Well, hi, ADMG 475 fans. Let's talk about Chapter 11 and see what we've got here. So for our reading review, we are talking about project quality planning and project kickoff meetings under the PMI. That's Chapter 11 of our contemporary project management textbook. And in the PMI PMBOK, we are talking about Chapter 8, project quality management. So our processes for quality management include planning quality management, which we all know that the first thing we do is we plan, and then we perform quality management and we control quality management. So quality, risk, and procurement management, they all go hand in hand, because risk management has to do with not just identifying things that could go wrong, but also identifying what happens if our quality isn't where we want it to be. That's a risk. Procurement management, we can have a lot of different quality problems with our procurements when we go out to procure goods and services from outside vendors. So these things really go together super well, and it's a good idea to do your risk, quality, and procurement all at the same time, in a sense, so that you are looking at all of these things at one time. So there's a significant risk that suppliers won't deliver things on time or within the quality expectation. Quality management is responsible for reviewing and approving goods and services received by suppliers. Your book starts the chapter with a discussion of quality management concepts and then how they have evolved to the state they are today. And it talks about a lot of the early theorists and a lot of how we got project or quality to where it is today. And some of these people are Deming, Uran, Malcolm Baldrich, Total Quality Management, Six Sigma. All of these things are quality initiatives and quality theories. And your book starts off with a really nice discussion of how we've evolved to where we are today. Now, core quality management concepts and processes, there are 4 core quality management concepts. One of them is stakeholder satisfaction. One of them is process management, fact-based management, and empowered performance. Now, if you and then the process management includes understanding SPIPOC, and then which includes supplier input, process output, customer model, and then the process quality PDCA model, plan, do, check, act model. The 11.7 is really all about the supplier input, process output, customer model, and then you'll notice 11.8 is the PDCA model. You want to understand how all of these things come together. Please take a good look at the functional model and walk through it so that you've got somewhat of an understanding of how that's pulled together. Fact-based management. Quality is about facts. 4 aspects of fact-based management are understanding variation, deciding what to measure, working correctly with data, and then using the resulting information appropriately. So again, we're all about facts. We want to know exactly what it is that we're looking at and exactly how we're going to measure it, and understanding when there is a variation, what is acceptable, what's not acceptable. Okay, so your project, your planning quality management. The quality management plan it's another component of our overall project management plan, and it includes organizational quality policies that are going to be implemented. It's often top down in organizations because we get quality standards from the top directed down to us, and it can look very different depending on the different projects that we are that we're undergoing, right? So a quality management plan would look very different for a party or a black tie gala than it would look like for building a home. Obviously, there's different tasks and quality would definitely look different. Now, Exhibit 11.10 is Project Quality Core Concepts. So when you look at stakeholder satisfaction, some of the guiding things here, identifying internal and external stakeholders, making trade-off decisions, developing capable customers. So good information in here. Please take some time to review 11.10. Quality management plan components and sections. You should think about including your project's overall quality objectives. And again, very different for each project out there. What are the key project deliverables, and then the standards that will be used to evaluate each one, because quality is not just how we look at the project overall, but how we evaluate each deliverable within that project. Okay, there will be different standards for examining each of those deliverables. Deliverable completeness and correctness criteria from a customer's viewpoint or your stakeholder's viewpoint. Not necessarily from your viewpoint, but also from that viewpoint of the stakeholder. Remember, we talked about in stakeholder engagement, we talked about you can do everything right, but if your stakeholder doesn't think so, you failed. So you want to try to put yourself in the stakeholder customer mindset when they're looking for completeness and correctness. Quality control activities. What are we going to do to control quality? Crucial project work processes and standards that we're going to use to review each one. Stakeholder expectations for project processes. What are some of our quality assurance activities? What are the roles and responsibilities of quality on our project? What are some of the tools we're going to use? And then how are we going to report quality back? So quality assurance and control. We perform quality assurance. It's the process of auditing the quality requirements and the results from quality control measures to ensure appropriate quality standards and operational definitions are used. It's all about making sure the end results meet those stated expectations. Okay, quality control is the process of monitoring and recording results of executing quality activities. Okay, so we need to not just define what quality looks like or how we're going to measure quality. We actually have to do it. We have to have activities where we go out and examine quality. And then we need a way of recording that information, and then we go into how are we going to make corrections if necessary? What's our plan for making necessary corrections? What are preventive actions? How are we going to make sure that that there isn't a quality problem? Okay, what are we going to do before there becomes a problem? Corrective actions are all about what are we going to do after the problem has been identified, and how are we going to bring things back into compliance. And then defect repair is an intentional activity to modify a non-conforming product or product component. Project kickoff. Let's talk about project kickoff. Boy, it does so many things, and I can speak from experience, having failed to hold a proper project kickoff meeting because I really thought the project was small. Really thought that it didn't have a lot of impact. Boy, was I wrong. I failed to hold a project kickoff meeting, and it just turned into a firestorm in the organization of questions and authority and resistance. Oh, a ton of resistance. So holding a proper project kickoff helps to establish that project leadership, and it helps to set stakeholder expectations. It gets everybody excited about the project. It helps identify the roles, who's going to do what. Some of the meeting activities can include things like describing the importance of the project, understanding acceptance goals and standards and urgency and budget concerns. It gets everybody talking about all of these things that kind kind of can happen. We outline the project goals. We talk about the core team. We unfold the project plan in its current state. And often project kickoff meetings happen after we finish planning, but sometimes we are actually planning the project while we start executing, because sometimes we don't have the luxury of time. Sometimes we really just have to get in, roll up our sleeves, and get going. And sometimes we're planning while we're in the early stages of executing. So sometimes that kickoff meeting, when we unfold the project plan, when we say in its current state, it can still be a very much a work in progress. We have the core team explaining communications, risk, and quality as best as we have it laid out at that time. We've got everybody asking questions, making suggestions, project manager authorizing appropriate changes to the plan, and then everybody concurring with the overall plan and understanding what their actions are with respect to the project. And I think this is incredibly important to understand, that a project kickoff meeting helps make sure that the people who are in the project team are on board and acknowledge that they have a role in the project. It's really important. Baselining a project. Now, we've talked a little bit about baselining all along. Baselining, check out page 311 through 312 of the textbook. And some things that need to be verified before you actually baseline the project in Microsoft Project. You need to make sure that your quality assurance and quality control activities are ready, outlined, and ready to go. Your risk response plan activities should be planned and ready. Performance posting activities need to be included, meaning that whenever you've got what's your schedule for reporting project performance, that needs to be in your plan. All hard date constraints should be incorporated if there are any hard date constraints. Do you have any realistic start date that's been chosen? Resource overloads need to be addressed. Before you baseline, your resource overloads should be addressed, meaning that we need to take care of those as much as possible. All of your holidays should be entered. Your vacations should be entered whenever they are known. Resource allocations should be realistic. Management reserve should be in the schedule. Contingency reserve should be in the schedule. Time and cost trade-offs should be applied to the schedule, and then you are ready to baseline. All right, that's all we have in this particular chapter, chapter 11. Of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me and let me know. And I hope you all have a great